fellow travelers, Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're here in Amsterdam. And today we're going to talk about are the don'ts of apartment rentals when you go on vacation. You know, things like VRBO, AirBnB. There's a lot of different websites out there that help you find apartments and homes while you travel. It's kind of cool. The thing is, there's some don'ts you need to think about before you go, and probably the most important don't I have for you is don't skip reading the reviews. Look, it may look nice in there, it might have a great description, but those reviews are key for you to understand. And don't just read the 5-star reviews, because remember, everybody's getting reviewed as well, so they tend to skew a little high. And don't read the ones, because those are the ex-wives and ex-husbands that are upset with their ex-spouses. Read the 3- and 4-star reviews as well, and look for a common theme that's there, because you'll notice throughout certain words will pop up: clean, location, safety, comfort, right? These are things you want to kind of think about in terms of what's there available. Accuracy, like accuracy in the description. When you start seeing those things, you kind of understand the review better, and then you'll know if it's right for you or not. Because if it's got a 1-star review, that doesn't always mean it's a bad place. But also a 5-star review doesn't always mean it's a great place either. And so I want you to kind of think about that. And I think another important thing that people need to realize is don't expect the owner or the host to be super helpful in terms of helping you know the city. A lot of these apartments, a lot of these homes, they're not owned necessarily by a local. They might be owned by a company. They might be owned by somebody that lives 500 miles away in a whole other country. You don't know, and so they might not know what's available because they just bought it because it was a good investment property. That's why don't expect any concierge service. Maybe not anything like the maps or where to go eat or what to see, because basically if you ask them, they might just be doing the same Google search as you and just send you that, versus, oh yeah, my cousin runs this restaurant down the street and you should get her, bitterballen because they're fantastic, right? So be aware of that, okay? And I think going along with the host kind of thing, specifically with Airbnb, don't think super hosts mean that they're a super host. It just means that they have a lot of high reviews. It doesn't mean that they're the ones that are giving you like free drinks and extra fun stuff and they stop by with a care package. No, it doesn't mean that. It just means other reviews they had, a lot of them were high, okay? So don't think that means they're super in what they're doing. It just means they got a lot of good reviews. That's why it's important to read the reviews, because then you'll see who's a true super duper host versus just a super host. Now, another kind of obvious one I have for you is don't forget to follow the rules. If they have rules about no partying, if they have rules about noise ordinance, you want to make sure you follow that, because that's one guarantee to get you like your review of you knocked down and getting you in trouble with Airbnb or VRBO or these other ones. So don't forget to follow the rules, but also don't forget to read the rules before you book. What is it all you have to do? Do you have to, sweep, vacuum, mop, clean the windows, take out all the garbage, mow the lawn, repoint the bricks? I mean, maybe not that bad, but what are all the things you have to do? Because all of a sudden it's got all these extras out there. You're like, wait a minute, that's more work than I need to do, and why am I doing all this cleaning if I'm already spending a $200 cleaning fee? You want to think about that to make sure it's going to be the right one for you. Now, another thing that really impacts me, like if you're coming to Europe, a lot of the flights from the US get in the early morning. But check-in time for Airbnbs and VRBOs or VRBOs and all these things are usually 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So I think it's important to mention this. Don't think you're going to get an early check-in or a late checkout or be able to leave your luggage at one of these apartment rentals. What you have to realize is some of these apartments and some of these homes, they're rented till the morning of your arrival. So somebody comes and cleans it that day in between. Or no one's been there for a few weeks, so it's just sitting there empty and there's nobody there. And so therefore you might not be able to drop your stuff off early. You might not be able to check in early or check in late. And that can be troublesome because you're coming from the US, you're getting it at 7 o'clock in the morning from Toronto or Chicago. That's going to impact you. And I think a really important thing to mention here, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of commenters about that, is don't think for 1 second that your stay at a vacation rental is not impacting the local housing market and the local renting market for the local community. I lived in Lisbon. I saw firsthand how all the apartment rental businesses drove the Portuguese out of downtown Lisbon into the suburbs because they couldn't afford to stay there. And the places were rented out as Airbnbs, and they'd only get like a VRBO or any kind of other rental property. And they might only do it like for 1 weekend, but they make more money if they rented the place. So they're like, hey, who cares if nobody's there? And it does impact it. When you have places that have housing shortages, that is one of those things you have to think about. That's why maybe you're like, you know what, if I'm only there for a few days, maybe a hotel's a better idea. Now, another thing I think is very important is don't forget to check the amenities list. You know, all the things that come with it: washer, dryer, towels, linens. Because one thing I want to tell you, don't think if it's not listed, it's there. Because they are very specific of what they list, you know that's there. But if you need a toaster, ask them, is there a toaster there? Like, it might not be. If there's not a coffee maker listed, there might not be one there. If there's no washer listed, yeah, there's definitely no washer, all right? So make sure you're reading through the amenity list. If there's something that you need, make sure it's there. If it's not, another thing you can do is don't be afraid to write the host before you book. Because it might be that it's a relatively new listing and they didn't know all the things they should write in there. Oh, hey, do you have a toaster? Oh yeah, we do. I thought that was like a normal thing for a kitchen. No, and then you know they have that, or a washer and a dryer. Hey, do you have that? So don't be afraid to write them, but also don't expect if it's not on the amenities list, it's gonna be there. And I mean anything. We're talking like dish soap, toilet paper, towels. You know, we've gone to places where they literally said, we're set up for 4 people. And they literally had 4 forks, 4 spoons, 4 knives, 4 plates, 4 bowls. That was it. I'm like, wow, you really only have for 4 people to eat at one time. And of course, there was no dish soap either. That's why I want to say, don't expect extras. I think that's the best way to put it. Don't expect anything that's not down on that list. Now, I said don't be afraid to contact the owner, but one of the things with contacting the owners I have for you is do not, I repeat, do not contact the owner outside of the app. Because as long as you're contacting them through the VRBO app, through the, you know, Airbnb app, or whichever thing they have, or the email chain that's the official email chain, that means it's going through the company. If you have a phone call and you're calling them, or you're texting them directly and not through, you know, the company's one, that leaves some legal leeway if anything goes wrong, right? Because you do want to have that paper trail when it comes to any issues. Now, another thing that Jocelyn asked me to mention here is don't forget to make sure you get the whole apartment or the whole house. Because sometimes, you know, in these rental agreements, you might just get a room in a house and other people might be staying there too. So make sure it's listed whole house, whole apartment versus just a room in there. And the thing is, you might not know because the pictures there look like it's a whole house for you. And I think that's another thing to be wary of. Don't be swayed by lots of tourism stock photos of the city you're staying in the photos that they show. Look, when you click on the photos, you want to see the bedrooms, you want to see the bathrooms, you want to see the living room, you want to see the kitchen, you want to see the neighborhood. That's what you want to see. Because the sites, yeah, I can show you a picture of the Rijksmuseum, it's right there, the Van Gogh Museum. I can show you the Central Station, I can show you the boats, I can show you that. But what does that have to do with my, you know, apartment I'm staying in right across the street? So make sure you don't fall for that. That's one of those ones, they make it look like, oh, we're in Amsterdam, it's so great. But what's the bed like? Is it a futon or is it a queen bed? Well, what am I getting? You want those pictures. Now, I know I said don't forget to check the things you have to do in the rules earlier, but I think another one is don't be surprised if you have to pay for cleaning after you clean the house. Like I said, we've been places where you had to sweep, mop, vacuum, do all the dishes, do the laundry, wash the stuff, and then still pay the fee. Look, it sucks. That's what they have. That's one of the things I do like, that a lot of these companies now are making it more upfront of what you're gonna get charged, what you have to do, and it's not unreasonable things you need to do, like, oh, you need to take off the bottom of the toaster and get out all the crumbs so it's like it's brand new. No, okay, so, but just be aware that, yeah, you're probably gonna be paying for cleaning no matter how clean you leave it. Now let's talk about location when it comes to your Airbnb. One thing, don't forget to investigate the neighborhood that the Airbnb or the VRBO is going to be in, or the rental is going to be in, because a lot of times what they do is they don't tell the exact location, they kind of give you a circle that shows you, oh, you're in this area. The thing is, it can be anywhere in that circle. It could be on the edge of the circle, it could be right in the middle of the circle. You don't really know. And if that part of that circle overlaps to a part of the city that you don't want to be in, maybe you don't do it, because that place could be there. Also, with the location thing, I think it's also important, don't forget to look up public transportation and parking. Is parking included in my rental agreement, or is there public transportation that goes by, and how close is it? Because if you're here in Amsterdam, you're not gonna have a car. You're gonna wanna know, where's the public transportation? How am I gonna get where I'm gonna go? Oh, it's right near a bus stop that's gonna take you into town. It's right near a metro when you're in Rome that'll take you right to the Colosseum. That's helpful stuff. Knowing those location things can make a big difference, because if all of a sudden I have to drive everywhere from there, maybe it's not as easy as a place, because sometimes you just want to park your car and leave it and then enjoy the city by foot or by public transportation. Now, one of the things you need to realize is some of these apartment rental places, you can write reviews about the apartments, but also the owners can write reviews about you as a renter or as a overnight guester, I guess. And the thing is, because of that, people are worried if they get a bad review, they won't be able to use that service again. Like, people won't say, yes, you can stay at our place. So the reviews tend to be a little bit over glowing. So it's really important that you read those reviews again and read between the lines to see what's there. You know, I've talked ad nauseum about the place we had in Connecticut where the people were literally spying on us. And it was really weird because everyone's thing was like they were very attentive, super attentive, always there for you, right? But what I want to say for this is don't forget to write an honest review. The good and the bad. What did you like about it? Because if it's more of a fact-based thing, they can't be upset if you actually point out the good and the bad. And sometimes the owners don't know when things are bad. I mean, or they don't know what they're doing, basically. I remember one time we stayed at one in Stockholm, and she left her wine cupboard full. She left her stuff out. And so Jocelyn wrote her and she's like, hey, you might want to like make sure your wine is locked up, your medicines are away. And this is the first time this lady had ever, you know, rented out her apartment. So she was very grateful that she got all this information from Jocelyn. But you want to be careful with that, okay? So don't forget those honest reviews, but also don't forget to treat the apartment, the house, like it's your own house and your own apartment. Because you know what? Someone's going to stay there again and have a family vacation with great memories just like you. So help them on that path too. So keep it clean when you leave and keep it like your own home. So, you know, no smoking inside, no doing other things inside. Be a good thing and follow those rules, all right? So what are some other don'ts you have about apartment rentals? Let us know in the comments below, and I'm sure some people will say, don't do apartment rentals, go do hotels. That's totally fine as well. If that's how you like to roll, it's totally cool as well. So I wish you all the best. I'll say bye from here in Amsterdam.